right, welcome. So excited to be here. Thank you for being here for the Masterclass Launch Your First Retreat. I am Lainey Cavazos. I am your host today. I'm so thrilled to be spending time with you. So cameras on if you can. I want to connect with you, right? I love seeing your faces. So if you can have your cameras on, please keep them on. And while people are coming into the room, tell me in the chat, right? How long have you been picturing to host that retreat of your dreams? It's not about the details, but just like how many years, right? Put the numbers of years in the chat. Like, how long have you been waiting? Is it, and you know, I've heard it all, right? 1 year, 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, 2 years, 3, 5, 1. Okay, 10 years, Brittany. Okay, I'm going to tell you about Tiffany in a little bit. You're going to like that story. Angelina, 2, Vanessa, 4, Christy, 20. Oh my gosh. This is the moment. We don't have to wait any longer. Yes. Not years and still exploring. Perfect. All right. So take one deep breath in and out with me. Just like, let's bring this energy here and be very, very present for the next 90 minutes. You can just inhale and then exhale. Let it all go and just, right? And I want you to look at those numbers in the chat. We had 4 years, 6 years, 10 years. And I want you to notice something. Not that you type, I don't know how to hold it. I don't know how to do it, right? You already know how to do the work. That was never the question. You're already an expert in your field, right? In the things that you trained on. All those coaching programs that you've had, you're an expert, right? But so if that skill is not missing, what is, right? And that's what the next 90 minutes are for. So here's what it is, right? And what is not this class, right? So this is not going to be a class where you leave this room fully inspired and then nothing happened, right? Because you've had enough inspiration out there. And if inspiration worked, your retreat would already exist. So this is 90 minutes on the business underneath that retreat. And you're going to leave knowing how to price it so it profits, how to speak about it so the right people lean in, right? And they're like, oh my gosh, where do I sign up? And what your actual first move is. Okay. Now, at some point during the masterclass, just know I'm going to tell you exactly how you can work with me. And I'm telling you that now, so you're not waiting for a surprise and you can relax and just learn and experience this masterclass. Yeah. So a little bit about myself. I have spent years working at Marriott's corporate office in the Ritz-Carlton, and I launched Marriott's Global Loyalty Program. Type a 1 in the chat if you've ever heard of Marriott One Boy Loyalty Program. It's loyalty marketing is customer relationship services experience, right? And yes, you have heard of it, right? The more you stay at Marriott hotels, the more rewards you get, free breakfast, room upgrades, massive, crazy experiences. And I got to create all of those. And I fell in love with loyalty marketing. And it's one of the biggest pieces of what I do in my programs. Because the truth is that loyal customers spend 67% more than non-loyal customers. So I want to make sure that you know that by creating connection, you can sell your retreats and then people will come back. So I launched over like 8 restaurants, a spa, and I grew revenue by 36% in a single year. And I had the 5-star lifestyle. On paper, I really thought it was everything that I wanted. But the truth is that I was walking on I was building a ladder that was not my own, right? I was making millions of dollars for other people. Have you ever been there making money for others? Type a 1 in the chat. Yes. Yes, making money for others. Do you want to change that? Because I did. I realized that I did not want to be building businesses for other people. And I didn't want to do it for these massive companies that had massive budgets. I wanted to do it for women just like you. Right? And then there was this moment when I went to a women's retreat, and it was 13 women in a circle, right? There was laughter, there was tears, there was like so much truth. And it cracked me open, right? It was like one of the biggest experiences I've ever had. And at the end of it, I asked the facilitator when the next one was, because I wanted to bring my friends, I wanted to bring my mom, I wanted to bring everyone. No, it's not only for women, it's just most of the room is women, Same, do not worry. You're good. All right. And she told me that she was not going to do it again because they didn't make any money. That sentence built my whole company, because women and men with life-changing gift, right? They were going to stop giving it. And it was not for a lack of passion, but for a lack of a business model. And I have spent 20 years building exactly that for hotels that didn't need the help. So passion and profit were never meant to compete. Like, profit is simply what lets you keep doing the work. Yeah. So here is what this whole class is about today, right? There are retreat dreamers and there are retreat leaders. And the difference between them is not talent. It is not experience, and it's not readiness. Most of you are more ready than you think. The difference is that a leader has a date, a price, and a plan. That's it, right? That's the whole gap. You're taking action. And it's something that you can actually cross today. So I built a program specifically for that, crossing it, right? And I'm going to show it to you later on. But first, let me show you what you're deciding about, right? So most first retreat leaders don't fail from a lack of passion. They fail because the leader price it from hope instead of math, right? Has anyone here like price anything from emotion? Like, oh, usually what happens in your brain is, one of the questions that might come up is like, does this feel fair? Will my client pay for it? Oof, if I lower my prices, more people will buy. That is pricing from emotion and not math, right? So what that means, right? Like, when we price from hope instead of math, right? And you speak to peers instead of buyers, like, which means like the thing that you've been trying to get better at, the facilitation, the content, the container, was never the thing that would have made the difference. Yeah. A retreat is not just a regular event. It's a transformational container. It's the fastest way for transformation. So you need to treat it like that. So once you see it that way, everything will reorganize itself. The price, the positioning, the way you invite people in. And you stop being a person with a beautiful idea. And can you help me, Carmel? There's someone unmuted. Anyway, let me keep going. All right. Where was I? Oh, yes. Once you stop having a beautiful idea, right? And that's a little bit strange. Okay. Let me just figure this out because I don't want to disturb you and me. Oh, I don't see anyone actually unmuted. It's a little bit strange. All right. Well, it is what it is. Let's keep doing this. All right. Thank you, Chris. I thought I did. Anyway. All right. So once you stop being a person with a beautiful idea and you start being a person with a business. Okay. So once I met a woman who had hosted 13 retreats, 13, and the photos were stunning, and every single one of her retreats were sold out. And I asked her about her profit, and she said she was very excited about it. She told me $500 each. And she was not doing anything wrong per se, right? She was doing everything right, but it was on top of a structure that made profit mathematically impossible. And she had no idea. And that's the part that really stayed with me, right? She thought she had a business. A sold out retreat is not a success if your bank account is empty. A sold out retreat is not a success if your bank account is empty. Yeah. Now, Let me tell you the other end of what is possible so you can see the whole range, right? So a few years ago, my team and I, we hosted a retreat in Mexico with Dr. Joe Dispenza. Anyone knows who Dr. Joe Dispenza is? Yeah. Okay. So he's very famous in the meditation world. We had 72 people flying in from around the world. And the speaker fee alone was massive. Yeah, I don't even want to tell you. Yeah. And generally, most people would have looked at that number and say, there is no way this is profitable. Just don't do it. But we price every seat with like the math that I'm teaching you today. We built a campaign that filled the room in 3 weeks. 3 weeks, and it was invitation only. Yeah. And that single retreat cleared $100,000 in profit after paying Dr. Yo. And it led to over $3 million in sales after the event. I'm not telling you this so you go book Dr. Joe, right? I'm telling you this because of what separated that retreat from the 13 sold out retreats that made $500. It was not the celebrity. It was not the location. It was that one of them was built on a model and the other one was built on hope. You are not selling a vacation. You are selling transformation. Okay. So I'm going to teach you 4 different models for this, for your retreat business today. Yeah. So this is what I want you to take from this section. There is no one single road to a profitable retreat business. There's at least 4, right? And they look nothing like each other. So model A is 2 premium retreats a year, right? 10 guests at $5,000, and that's $100,000 a year. And I want you to start thinking which model is the one that I resonate more with. And then model B is 4 smaller retreats, right? Quarterly retreats, 12 guests at $2,500 each. That's $120,000 a year. Then model C is monthly mini retreats with 1 flagship retreat a quarter. That is $100,050 and up, right? And model D is a retreat that leads into a program with recurring revenue stacked on top of the retreat itself. So I'm typing them in the chat for you, so you have them. But I want you to look at those, right? They have a similar income, but they have completely different lives, right? One of them has you on a plane 4 times a year, and one of them has you home every weekend except one. So you don't need hundreds of people. You need the model that fits your strengths, your audience, and the life you actually want to be living while you do this. All right. So which model is calling to you? Type A, B, C, or D in the chat. Same, okay. C? Sama, maybe? Ariel, A, okay. Hi, Ariel, nice to see you. Samara, C, Justin, B, okay. Sue, D, great. C, B, okay, D, perfect. See how everyone has a different approach and a different perspective and something different that they want to create that feels more aligned to who they are. And notice that nobody in the chat has picked a model because it was correct or like the only way. You picked it based on the life you want, right? And that is the right instinct, and that's how we do it properly. Now, so Brittany, I remember I told you I was going to talk about a story that was going to talk about someone who waited for 10 years. Yeah. So Tiffany, she told herself one day for 10 years. One day, 10 years of a floating idea, right? And she was a great coach. It was nothing about being good enough or not. She was extraordinary, right? But nobody ever sat down with her and built a model with her. So when we finally did it, her first Silent Serenity retreat sold out. And every single retreat attendee came back for the next one. Now she has a business that funds her life. It was 10 years of waiting and then one decision. Because the cost of waiting is always higher than the cost of deciding. Look back at the chat and look at the years you typed. Okay. So now we're gonna move into a little bit of an interactive part. So I want you to chat, like you're gonna be typing 3 numbers, and don't want you to overthink them. I'm going to be asking them, and just the first thing that comes to your mind, that's the one that you're going to type, right? And then just remember them, because I'm going to do some live examples for you. Okay, so 1, if retreats work the way you want them to, how much revenue, right, what you want them to bring into your business in a year? And you will not scare me. I've seen 15,000 and I've seen millions. So how much money you want to make per year? And if you had a magic wand. 100,000, okay. 200,000, 100K, 80K, 200K, perfect. 50,000, 100K, 50K, 1K per year. Chris, just double checking. Yeah. 150,000, 50K. Yeah. So if retreats work the way you wanted them, how much would you want them to bring into your business in a year? Okay. I love it. No need to apologize. I just want to make sure, because $1,000 is a little bit of like a small number. I mean, it would be very easy to reach though. Okay. All right. 2, how many retreats a year? And I want you to choose a number that feels good, not one that is going to impress me or that feels like a stretch. It's just how many retreats a year? 2, 2, 3, 4, 10, 4, 4, 2, 4, 15. Okay. 2, 2, 3, 10, 2. Okay, perfect. Great numbers. 5. Good. All right. Now 3, I want you to close your eyes, unless you're driving, of course, right? And I want you to imagine that there's a door in front of you, and behind of it, everyone who's coming to your retreat is already waiting. Open that door, and how many faces do you see? Type that number. In one retreat, yeah? Okay. 12, 12, 10, 12 to 24, 15, 8, 20, 15. Okay, good. 10 to, okay, 8. Great. Now, so I'm going to do some live examples. So whoever wants me to run their numbers, you just need to type your 3 numbers in the chat, one next to each other. Okay, Patty, 10, like 100K, 4 and 5. Let's start with that one. Okay, so I mean, this is an easy one. Okay, so 100K here, right? Divided by 4 retreats, right? 25,000 divided by 5 people. Your ticket, 5,000, right? This is what you would need to be charging someone in order to reach that goal in a year. Simple, right? I mean, math does not need to be complicated. And then I want you to tell me, Patty, how does that number feel? Like, what emotion comes when you saw this 5,000? And anyone else who sees 5,000, like, what do you feel in your body? Like, does it feel exciting? Does it feel stretchy? Does it feel like you feel a little bit anxious? Does it feel like, oh, it's too low? Like, what are you feeling? Okay, so we have acceptable, okay, acceptable, stretching, very reasonable, okay, good. Yeah, we want to see how we're feeling about the numbers, because the truth is that we don't believe in the number, it's not going to sell. Okay, very reasonable, love it. All right, let's do another one. So I'm going to do Samara. Hi. Okay, so we have 200,000 divided by 3 retreats, 66,666. Divided by 30. Ooh, some angel numbers. 2,222 per retreat, per ticket to reach that. How does that feel for all of you in this room? How do you feel about charging this number and then making 200K in a year? Okay, let me see if I can find one with that. Okay, let's do Stephanie. And I'm going to give you the math is very simple, right? But we have 80,000, right? Revenue divided by 2 retreats per year, correct? All right, so 40,000 per retreat divided by 12 people. Oh, more angel numbers. Who would guess? 33333. So how does that feel for you? Okay, 3,500 sounds a bit high for mine. Well, yeah, we'll talk about perceived value in a moment, so that will make a lot more sense. I remember last year I was speaking at a conference, the Sellout Retreat Summit that we're hosting this year in Mexico. And I got on stage and I told people, please do not price your retreats with angel numbers. Do not choose your price based on angel numbers because you think that's going to sell. But if the angel number shows up like we just had here, why not? But it's based on math, okay? Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't, yeah, it doesn't make it sell. That's the truth. It doesn't really make it sell. Like, it's not a marketing strategy. You need to run the math. Okay. Now, for some of you, that number feels high, right? And I want to name what just happened. You did not flinch at your revenue goal. You flinched at the price. The gap right here between what you want to earn and what you believe you're allowed to charge, that gap is the entire business problem. And it's not a math problem. And we're going to come back to it, right? And just know that Rome was not built in a day. Maybe year one is half of that revenue goal. But now that you know that number, you know where you're walking towards, right? And most people never get that far. You have a goal. Now you know where you're heading. Yeah. Okay. So if you did your own numbers, I want you to type the number in the chat. Let's see them. What number did you get? And then I'll put the formula. Okay. Yes, Chris, 2,000, 1,000. Yeah. Carmel, can you give Kathy the business models, please, in the chat? Send her a private message. Okay. 1,700 without expense. Yeah. Your numbers, Samara, for you were at 2,222 if we run the numbers that you said, just so you know. 6,200, 550 gross. Okay, 1,600. And how does that feel? Now, look at what you, yes. So divide all that divided is like 2,222. Like your ticket price if you want to reach that revenue, right? Not profit, revenue. All right, so let's just look for a second of what we did in 5 minutes, right? And it's just the surface. So when I work with someone properly, we go all the way down, right? Like the cost per guest, the break even, the margins, the tiers, the launch, and we build it before anything is even announced, right? But now you have something most retreat leaders never get. You have a number. So let's keep going. So you have a number, right? Now the question is, how do I start, right? And there's 4 different ways on how you can do that, right? And 3 of them work for some people, right? And I'm going to be honest, but you all about 4 of them, right? And including the ones that don't involve me, because you should choose with your eyes open, yeah? So option 1 is you figure it out alone. Blogs, podcasts, other people's Instagram captions. It is free and you'll genuinely learn things, right? And it's an option if you have the runway, right? The cost is time plus 1 expensive first mistake, because I can tell you 90% of first-time retreat leaders do not price properly and they never run a retreat ever again. So most people go this way. They take between 3 to 5 years and at least 1 unprofitable retreat to arrive at the model that works for them. Then, you know, 2, you buy a template or a course, right? It's affordable, it's structured, and there's good ones out there, right? And if your retreat is fairly conventional, a template will get you most of the way there. And the cost is the fit, right? A template cannot tell you what makes your work different. And generic advice tends to cheapen your work, right? And 3, you hire it, done for you, right? A full service planner will handle it, and then it will be beautiful. You know, if it's the right choice, if you're time poor and cash rich, right? It's 15,000 and up, right? And the cost is dependency. So you get 1 retreat, not the model, and when you want the second one, you pay again because the knowledge leaves with the consultant. 4 is you book a venue and then you hope, right? And this is what most first-time retreat leaders actually do. They pick a place you love, right? You pick a price that feels nice, you announce it, and then you hope. And the cost is the retreat itself, right? And this is where sold out and broke stories comes from. And it's the only one out of 4 I generally would steer away from. Now, let's forget for a second what is available out there. But if you could have the ideal way to launch your first retreat, it would meet 3 conditions, right? And everything else is a detail. So 1, it's built around your work and not a template. Because your retreat is not interchangeable with anyone else's. Don't go copy people's retreats, right? And advice that treats it the way, it gets the exact things that makes people want to come. 2, numbers for profit, right? Before you even sell a single seat. So you would want to know your true cost per guest and your break even before you announce anything. So the price is a decision, not guessing, right? Not finding out in October that you're $10,000 underwater. And 3, a person who looks at your actual retreat and tells you the truth. Not a recorded module you watch at 11 at night, right? Someone with like numbers and look and tell you this is going to work and this is not going to work, right? Who would look at your positioning, your price, and your plan and says, this part works, this part will cost you before it actually costs you, right? So if you want those 3 things, type yes in the chat. Yes, Mariah. Yes, Cynthia. Yes, Cynthia. Okay, perfect. Love it. Yes, 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 yes. Of course. All right. So that is the standard. I want you to hold on to it, right? And later on, I'm going to show you that is going to hold you up against those 3 conditions, right? And you'll know right away whether it is for you or not. So before we get into pricing, I want to fix the thing that quietly kills most first retreats, right? And it has nothing to do with money. Most retreat leaders actually or accidentally write to their peers instead of their guests. So here's what I mean with this. You write a somatic journey into nervous system regulation and embodied presence. And every facilitator who reads that nods because they know exactly what you mean and they're impressed. And your actual bias reads it and it's like, what is that? And they keep scrolling. You are writing for the approval of people who will never buy from you. And it feels like it's very professional, right? And it feels like you're going to be taken seriously because you have fancy words to sell your retreat. But it's the most expensive habit in the industry. So if you're selling a destination, you're going to get compared to Expedia. And let me tell you, Expedia has a massive marketing budget. You do not want to be competing against them. But if you sell an outcome, you get compared to no one else because no one else can do what you do. Your guest is not searching for somatic nervous system regulation. Your guest is lying awake at 2 a.m. thinking, I don't recognize my own life anymore. Those are the words, right? Like write those words. So in the chat right now, in 1 sentence, if you have like thought about your retreat, right? How do you currently describe your retreat? Like if you have a website, copy it from your website and put it here, right? And if you have one, just like give me the real one. Don't clean it up. Okay, Ariel, get it done. Retreat marketing made easy. I have to tell you, Ariel is in one of my programs, so that's why it's so. Well, she's in 2 programs. So get it done. Retreat marketing made easy. Okay, Love it. But there is a part of you, Ariel, that is missing there because she is a brand photographer. So I want that has like to do with their, like how they're perceived, how they're being seen in there. Okay. COVID rejuvenating. Okay. Sama, come back to lightness. What type of lightness? I think lightness in the sense I'm going to be lighter because I'm going to lose weight, lightness of my soul, of my heart, lightness in my mind. What type of lightness? Okay. Okay, Chris, great. First draft of book finish. This is great. Very clear, right? Outcome result oriented. This is what it is. You're gonna get your first draft of your book finished. So only people who want to write a book and don't want to do it alone are gonna be attracted to it. And that is perfect because you're gonna talk to the right buyer. Okay, Charlotte, love that you gave me a description. 4 days to reset your business and your nervous system. Okay. A private lake retreat for ambitious women who are ready to let go of the hustle, find community, and unlock their next level in their business and life. Okay. So you're following one of like the models that a lot of people teach you, that is like start with the how long the retreat is. People, you don't want to like filter them out at the beginning with the length of the retreat. Because what if it's the right retreat, but they're like thinking from the beginning, oh no, there's no way I can get 4 days off from my kids, right? I cannot find a nanny. And then they were the perfect client. Okay, so we don't want to start with that. If they really want to do it, they will find the time. So, and then reset your business in what way? What is the thing that they're like, what is going to happen to their business once they reset it? Right? And what is the thing that wakes them up at night when they're thinking about their business, right? Like, what's the thing that keeps you up? When actually, all of you, tell me, like, what is the thing that keeps you up at night when you're thinking about launching this first retreat? Like the thing that doesn't, like that thought that keeps popping and popping and popping and popping in your head. What is that? Right. From stage to legacy, brand it, own it, win it. Love it. I mean, and also brand it, own it, win it is very connected to the rest of your brand, Samara. So you've been building that brand for a while. So it's easy, right? Safe ways for folks with lymphedema to travel and experience nature. Very specific, Brittany. Love it. Okay. Soul identity retreat, defining your fight within. Correlates with my published book journal. Soul identity retreat, defining your fight within. So think about, Maria, who is this ideal client that will come to this retreat? Like, who is this woman or man or couples that are, they need a fight within, or they need to define their fight within? Like, the word defining is a little bit broad in the sense of like, well, what would I define? Yeah. Okay. You want to ask yourself, who is that sentence trying to impress? Right. And then you want to ask yourself what your guest would say in her own kitchen at 11 at night, and then give it back to them in buyer language. So do you feel the difference, right? It's the same retreat, like the behind the scenes is the same, right? You're the same person, right? But one person gets the clapping, right? The applause, right? Admired by your colleagues, and the other one gets the client. So type peers if you realize that you've been writing to the wrong person. Peers. Anyone else? I mean, I've done it myself. For sure. Chris, you haven't even started. That's fine. This is why you're here today. Are you in progress? Sometimes, definitely. Yeah. I mean, we can't help ourselves. We need to develop that like filter in our own brains to know if we're talking to a guest or we're talking to a peer. And that is actually session 4, by the way. So we spent an entire session rebuilding your message in the language that people who are ready to actually use, right? But you just got the core of it. So before we get into pricing, and we're going to get there very, very soon, right? I'm going to teach you through, like, I'm going to tell you that, you know, a piece that nobody ever sits down and teaches you, right? Because it's really one of the things that makes all those 3 conditions that I mentioned earlier possible. Okay, you don't have a sales line. Yeah, yoga retreats sometimes a little bit different depending on your audience and whatnot. They work slightly different than the other ones. Okay, so I want you to, for a second, just, you know, clear your brain and forget about retreats for a second. Yeah, like just don't think about retreats right now. And I want you to imagine that you're gonna throw your kid or your dog a birthday party. Yeah, and it's gonna cost you $1,000 to run that birthday party, right? And then there's 20 kids coming. So your cost per guest is $50, right? And this is a birthday party where people are paying to come, okay? This is not your regular birthday party where you're paying for everyone is going to pay to come. So if you charge 50, yeah, you're breaking even. And you did all the work for free. So you charge 100. And now you're in profit. And maybe some parents say, well, honestly, this looks incredible. I would love my kid to sit next to the birthday boy. I'll pay 200. That is the VIP version, right? That's your upsell. Profit is very simple math. And it only feels like a mystery because nobody makes it about your kid's birthday party. Simple. Simple, simple, simple. Okay. Now I'm going to teach you my favorite formula that I teach and I'm going to put it in the chat as well, so you have it. But I'm going to teach you one of my favorite formulas because this is the one that sets the boundaries for you. This is the one that allows you to protect yourself and your business and allows you to stand strong in who you are. Yeah. So it's a profit floor formula. Is the total cost of running your retreats divided by the number of guests plus the desired profit per person. This is your minimum price. Your minimum price. So I'm going to give you a calculation from one of the retreats that we ran. Okay. Okay. So we ran a Dying to Fully Live retreat in Mexico in an Italian state. Wonderful retreat where people were coming because they were afraid of dying. So actually one of the exercises was writing our own eulogy. And that retreat had, the cost of running it was $24,000. Yeah, $24,000 to run it, like the costs. And then we had space for 7 people. So our cost per person, 3,400. And we knew that we wanted to make at least the same amount. So our base price was $7,000. This is our profit floor. What does profit floor mean? Profit floor means this is the lowest price you ever go for your retreat. This is your friends and family. This is your discounts. This is partners. This is anyone who wants to come to a retreat and you want to give them a special price. This is your early birth. This is your lowest price. This is your boundary. You don't drop from this price, right? So there was this person who flew in from Australia to Mexico with 16 guests, okay, 16, right? It was picture perfect. And she had underpriced so badly, she could not cover her own travel. So halfway through the retreat, she mentally checked out. And her guests, they felt it. They had paid for her full presence and she could not give it. Because she was already thinking, how was she going to make it back home? So you not making money is not just about you. It's about your clients. It's about your presence. They paid for your presence. Right? So when you underprice, you don't just hurt yourself. You quietly abandon your people. So that is the profit floor, and it is the foundation, right? So pricing goes deeper than that. Your tiers, your upsells, your payment plans, your early bird. And when I work with people, I run it all through a pricing calculator I built out of 20 years in hospitality. And that is like session 5 of what I'm about to show you. But first, one more thing, and it's the action that one actually stops people. Yeah. So I want to name the thing that's actually in the room, because it's in almost every room I stand in. So some of you flinched at your own price ticket. And not because the math was wrong, because somewhere you learned that charging well for healing work is a little bit greedy. That the money contaminates the mission. Type a one in the chat if you've ever felt that. If anyone has told you something like that. That you're helping people, that, you know, it's greedy to make money. Yeah. So let me tell you where that belief ends up. Yes, even nonprofits make money. That belief ends up in a woman in a circle of 13 women saying we cannot do it again because we barely made any money. That's what the belief costs. Not you, them. Everyone who never gets the retreat.
Oh no.
Abraham Hicks, I'm going to paraphrase this, but says that it is your moral responsibility to serve people. So if you're not able to do it again because you didn't make any money and you cannot pay your bills, are you really serving people? Selling out without making a profit is a retreat that never happens again. Yeah, the costs are real, right? And I'll tell you something very, very personal, right? I used to sing badly, right? Joyfully at parties, in the shower, at karaoke, I did not care, right? And one day my boyfriend at the time said, Lainey, stop, you sound horrible. And I stopped for 13 years. Not even in the shower. I believed him and I silenced myself. And it was not even a conscious choice. I just allowed it to happen, right? And the first time I sang again, it was inside of a temazcal. It's a sweat lodge for those who don't know, in complete darkness where nobody could see me. And when it ended, people said, Lainey, you have a beautiful voice. I had no idea. And here's why that matters to you. Everyone in this room has been told by someone or by yourself that you're not the business one, that you're the heart, not the head. And you believed it. And you went quiet about the money. I am not here to tell you to be someone else. I am here to tell you that the voice was always there. And I'll tell you how this beliefs actually plays out, because it's never as noble as it feels. A Kundalini teacher that I've hired to come as a facilitator to multiple retreats used my family's retreat center to run a retreat. And 1 week out, she called me in a panic because she was losing money. So we looked at her numbers, right? And what had happened was this: a scholarship here, because the woman really needed it, right? A friend discount there, a payment plan she never changed. Every single one of those decisions was generous. And every single one of them felt like the right thing. And together they took her below her own profit floor, right? And then she asked me to ask my brother to discount the venue. I said no, with love, but no, because the venue should not pay for her pricing. And that's the whole thing, isn't it? When you don't hold that boundary with yourself, somebody else always holding it for you. Your family, your partner, your kids, the school fees, the venue. Generosity that you can't afford is not generosity. It's a bill you're handing to someone else. And the last thing standing between you and a retreat is usually a sentence. I am not ready yet. So let me tell you something with a lot of love, right? Tiffany said 10 years. The woman with $500 ran 13 retreats before she found out. Nobody in the history of business has ever felt ready. Readiness is not a feeling you arrive at. It is a decision you make. And the feeling shows up afterward, right? Usually about a week later. You do not decide because you are ready, right? You become ready because you decided. So type ready in the chat if you're done waiting to feel like it. Ready, ready. Okay. All right, so I want to tell, ready, love it. Okay, so I'm going to just do a little bit of a recap of all the things that we already covered in this class. And there's more to come. Don't worry, we have 40 minutes left to go through this. But I want to tell you that we already covered your big vision for your business, how much money you want to make, how many retreats you want to host, and how many people do you want to have, right? That big vision. We already covered different types of business models that you can choose from, so you don't have to break your brain and figure it out. We also spoke about your profit floor and how making money is very, very important. And we spoke about messaging, and messaging is one of the things that actually makes your retreat sell. Okay. So you know the number, you know the 4 ways, and you know the 3 things you actually want. And you just told me you are done waiting. Yeah. So I told you I'm going to show you how to work with me, and I'm going to keep my promise. And then after that, we are going to go into some sales training. So stay tuned because it is so, so powerful, right? And I want to tell you about the program called Launch Your First Retreat. It is a 10-week program, right? It's for coaches, facilitators, and leaders with transformational work who are launching their first retreat and want it full, profitable, and unmistakably theirs. And I built it against this exact 3 conditions you already agreed to. So let me show you, right? So there is no template, right? We're going to start from your gift, your people, your vision, and build the business around that, right? It's 10 live sessions, not recordings, right? It's live. And every single session has hot seat coaching, which means you can put your retreat on the table and get coached on it directly, right? From me. You don't get a coach from someone else. It's me. Yeah. Okay. We covered your retreat defined, what you're actually offering before you spend $1, authority and positioning. So the right people say yes before they even meet you, your ideal guest, a little bit for everyone, sells to no one. Yeah. Messaging that lands. Most retreat leaders accidentally write to their peers instead of their guests, right? Pricing that profits, right? Your true cost per guest, your break even, the price that pays you. Yeah. Your offer reviewed live, right? You bring it and I'll tell you what works and what will cost you. Heart-led sales, because selling without the buy now energy, right? That makes your heart sink so you don't feel icky or pushy. It's about connection, right? Marketing that fits you. The channel that won't drag you, right? Because instead of using someone else's playbook, one of the things most of my clients actually, they market their retreats in different ways. Not all of them are actually doing it on social media. Logistics and location, right? The operational pieces that quietly destroy your margins. And then your launch plan reviewed live, right? On the table, sequence. So you're going to be able to run that retreat again and again and again and again. My goal is for you to have a business. So you need to have a retreat that you can rinse and repeat. Now, this is a boutique program, so we only have 12 people, and we already sold 6 of the spots. So there's only 6 spots left for this container. So if this is what you want, this is a moment for you to start saying yes. Now, let me make this real because, 10 sessions is a little bit abstract, and I want you to be able to picture it, right? So in week 1, you're going to come to a live session, right? You're going to bring the retreat that's been in your head in whatever state it is, right? Half-formed is fine. Half-formed is actually normal. And by the end of that session, you're going to have said it out loud to me and to 11 other people, what your retreat actually is and who it is for, right? And most of you have never done that. And it's harder and more emotionally than it sounds, right? And it changes everything downstream. And by week 5, you have a price, a real one, right? Built from your costs that profits, not a number that feels nice. Yeah. Okay. By week 6, you sit in the hot seat and I go through your positioning, your guests, your numbers out loud and tell you what's going to work and what's going to cost you. And by week 10, you have a launch plan on the table that we've tightened and sequenced together. And you leave able to run it again on your own, right? And for the second retreat and the 5th retreat and the 10th retreat, right? That's the part that matters the most. You're not renting me, you're keeping the model, right? And session 5 is one of the pieces that a lot of people don't teach in the best way possible, right? Like your cost or your break even on paper, you know, it needs to be profitable before a single person says yes. And we set the intention from day 1. Your first retreat should return at least 3 times what you invest here. That is not a promise from me. That's a design target, right? We build towards together. So $10,000 in profit on a first retreat is a normal outcome for someone who does the work. Now, that does not mean you can make more than $10,000, but that is the initial goal that I want you to at least have that, right? Type a 1 in the chat if you're excited to make $10,000 from your first retreat or more. Yes. Angeline, Christy, Stephanie, Chris. Okay, great. Regia, Cynthia. Awesome. Tamara, perfect. Okay, I feel like I still got you here with me. All right, so 2 of the sessions are nothing but live feedback on your retreat, your positioning, your guests, your numbers, right? And I want you to know that you're going to learn as much from watching someone else's hot seat as from your own, because the mistakes are far more universal than anyone wants to admit. And I want to tell you about one of my clients, Brent, right? He was going to lose $10,000 on a retreat in October. 1 week in, right? We rebuilt the structure and that retreat came back with $17,000 in profit. It was a $27,000 swing, right? And now he has retreats booked months ahead, sold out. And then Matthew, his first event, he had 35 people signed up and only 5 people showed up, right? And he nearly quit. But he built the structure instead and he sold out all 3 summer retreats and had 76 people on a waiting list. Tiffany waited for 10 years, right? Her first retreat sold out. And 100% of her attendees returned. And now it funds her family's life. Okay. And I want you to know who you're going to be sitting with, right? Because it matters more than people expect, right? It's 12 people, not 50, 12, right? And it's a very deliberate number, but it's the reason hot seats work at all, right? Because 50 people means you're going to be watching, right? 12 people means you're in it. And the group is deliberately mixed, right? My clients run men's retreats, trauma retreats, silent retreats, plant medicine retreats, veteran retreats, corporate offsites. And the first time somebody says, well, my retreat is completely different, so this won't apply to me. They sit through someone else's hot seat on a totally different kind of retreat and they take 4 pages of notes. Because again, mistakes are more universal than anyone wants to admit. All right. And that's how we design everything, right? So there's one more thing happening in this room, and probably no one is going to type it in the chat. So I'm going to say it on your behalf, right? Some of you are not even worried about money at all. You're going to be worried that you're going to spend $3,000 and find out you're the one it does not work for. That everyone else in the group will launch and you'll be the one who still doesn't have a retreat at the end. And then you'll have proof that it was you all along. And I know some people in the room are thinking about that because I've heard it on 100 calls. So here's what I'll say. Every single person I told you about today, Brent, Matthew, Tiffany, Elisa I have not mentioned. She did an update on her retreats and got 9 new clients, $36,000 extra in her bank account, right? just like Matthew, right? He had 35 people and signed up and 5 showed up. He had actual evidence that he was the one it didn't work for. And he was right to be more afraid than any of you. He sold out 3 retreats, built the 76-person wait list. Now he's buying a property in Spain to bring his retreat leaders. So you're not afraid because you're not cut out for this. You are afraid because you've never been shown the way to do it. There is a difference, and that is the whole difference. And I'm going to tell you who this is not for, because I'd rather you know that now find out in week 3, right? So if it's not for you, if you want a done for you template and wish you good luck, I do not have one. If it's not for you, if you're already running a multi-retreat business at scale, that is a different program. And if that's you, tell me in the chat and I'll point you the right way. It is not for you if you believe selling has to be pushy and you're not open to a kinder way, because week 7 is going to be miserable for both of us. And it's 10 weeks of live sessions. So if you cannot show up, the recordings are there, but the whole seats are a big part of it. So if you cannot come live, this might not be the right season for you. Okay. So we've done some math, right? Let me do some math again for you here. Okay. So if someone wants to make $100,000 in their retreat business and they want to run, let's say 3 retreats per year, and they want to have 8 people, that's usually the number I recommend when it's your first retreat, by the way. It's 4,166. One ticket will cover more than your investment in this program. Yeah. So the real question here is not, can I afford this? The question is, do I believe I can run 1 retreat? Because if you can run 1 retreat, the math already worked. And if you can't fill it, then you need this program even more than the person sitting next to you. So here is the investment, right? $3,000 paid in full, or 6 monthly payments of $600. So cash flow is not the thing that makes this decision for you. And I want to put that, next to the alternatives already, you already agreed to, right? Figuring out a loan, right? 3 to 5 years, unprofitable retreats, right? Usually most people who run retreats and they lose money, they lose around $10,000, just so you know. Done for you, 15,000, right? And you don't keep the model and you need to hire them over and over again. So this is the cheapest way of the 4 ways to get it right. And it's the only one where you keep the system, yeah? And there are 2 things I'm giving to the people who decide right now. So Carmel, if you can drop the link in the chat for the program, I would appreciate that, because I know these spots are going to go fast. So there's 2 things I'm going to give you if you decide while we are together on this call. And that's why we still have training after that. So you have time to pull out your credit card and pull in your numbers, right? And it's not because I want to rush you, but because I'm always very invested in the people who are taking actions. Right. So bonus 1 is you get a private hour with me, 101, right? A 1 hour with me alone, where I personally audit everything you have built. So once the program is over, I review everything, your retreat, your positioning, your numbers. This, I charge $1,000 for my hourly rates. Yeah. And it's the thing my clients say that changed most for them. It is yours if you enroll on this call. Now, bonus 2 is you get a retreat business blueprint. This is a 24-page document that actually includes market research for you on your ideal client and different ways on how you can sell. Yeah. All right. And it's only 6 seats left, right? So this program does not work with 50 people. Okay. And let me tell you what happens exactly when you click, right? Because nobody ever does. And I think that's why people hesitate. You're going to land on a page, and you're going to choose to pay in full or the 6-month plan. And it takes you about 2 minutes. And you're going to get an email straight away with your welcome and the session dates and the Zoom link for week 1. And then within a day or 2, my team is going to reach out to book your private hour with me. That's the bonus, right? Ariel, I'll tell you in a second. Thank you for asking. All right, so this, Yes. Okay. So you have the link, right? So this is what you want to do. And 3,000 in full or 600 a month, and you're gonna take your seat, and your both bonuses are yours. And if you want to talk through it with a human first, stay until the end because I'll have some time for Q&As. Okay. Now, if some of you need a little bit more, that's completely fair. So that's why I'm gonna say a little bit more. But I want to tell you a little bit more about what happens when we bring in loyalty marketing into our retreats. Yes, and the things that we need to have an enrollment system. Yes, Sama, there is a space where you can run ads or do different ways. There's different ways to sell retreats, not always through ads, but yeah, that will be the marketing budget inside of your retreat costs for sure. And we work through that. When I talk about different marketing channels, I talk about 22 different marketing channels. Only 2 of those are social media. Yeah. Okay. So repeat guests. Okay. And here's a number that changes how you see this whole thing. 50% of year 2 bookings come from retreat guests and referrals. 50%. So which means if you serve 10 people brilliantly this year, 5 of them are going to come back or send someone. So next year, you're not starting from scratch, right? You're never starting from 0 again. But here's a catch, and it is the reason I've been so pushy about pricing today. This only works if the first one was profitable. If you were stressed, underpaid, and running on fumes, your guests felt it. And nobody comes back to that. They come back to presence. And presence is a business outcome. And here's the thing that stands between you and those 10 people. It is not talent. It's that most retreat leaders don't have an enrollment system. They have a hope system, right? And here's the host system. And tell me if you recognize it, right? You post on Instagram, you send a couple of emails, and maybe you do a Facebook Live, and then you wait. And then the seats don't fill and you panic. You discount, you add bonuses, you scramble. And then you tell yourself, oh, there's too many retreats out there. It's so hard to sell. That is not selling, that is hoping, and hoping is not the strategy. Yeah. So an enrollment system has 5 parts, and I'm going to give them to you right now, right? Number 1, a message built on the transformation, not the itinerary. Nobody has ever bought a schedule. Yeah. 2, a campaign timeline that builds anticipation. So people are waiting for the doors instead of being ambushed by them. 3, a follow-up sequence, because almost nobody buys the first time they see it. And money is almost entirely in the follow-up. 2% of the sales happen on the moment. So this is where most of your sales are lost. 4, a booking process that makes saying yes easy. Confused people do not make decisions. 5, a post-purchase experience that starts the transformation before they even get on the plane. That's what makes them tell people. So when you have all 5, you stop launching from scratch every single time. So you have a system, and a system runs whether you're having a good week or a terrible one. So which one of the 5s are you missing? Just type the number. Yes, I can put them in the chat. These are some of the ones I have because everyone always asks for those in the chat. Okay, there we go. All right. Most of them too. Okay. So, and the smartest retreat leaders don't sell just a retreat, they sell a door, right? So what happens after your retreat? Do they go home and slowly forget, or do they step into something else? A container, a community, a next level retreat. That's how a $3,000 retreat becomes a $10,000 client relationship. Right? So Elisa was already running retreats and doing fine. Unpredictable, but fine, right? And instead of the program, she made one change. She tightened her offer and her follow-up sequence. That single change brought 9 clients at $4,000 each. $36,000 from one single adjustment. She did not post more. She didn't hustle harder. She got the right thing once. So sometimes it's not about doing more, it's about doing the right thing once. All right. So, and one more, right? Before we want to think about, like, sometimes what we see outside is a version of success. So a client I call my camp client, you know, big heart community, general magical retreats, right? People cried, reconnected, people left changed. And then when we opened his numbers, I found out he was paying his facilitators more than he was paying himself. I know. While doing all the work. He was exhausted and underpaid, and quietly wondered why something that looked so successful felt so heavy. So we simplified the format. We clarified who was responsible for what. We set the margins. We added upsells that made sense. And one lunch later, he cleared $24,000 in profit. Same passion, same man, different structure. So I want to check in, you know, with the people who are still sitting with this. So if you've been listening to Brent and Tiffany and Matthew and quickly thinking that is me, that's my situation, I want you to trust that. That feeling is not a coincidence, it's recognition. So Carmel, if you can drop the link again in the chat, thank you, right? And then what I'm gonna do also is I'm gonna offer you, if you're like, oh, is this for me or not? I want you to book a free strategy call with me. And in that free strategy call, I'm gonna listen to you. I'm gonna ask you questions about your retreat business. What are your goals? Where do you wanna get to? And then together we're gonna find out if this is the right program for you. So Carmel, please also drop the link for the strategy call. Thank you. I don't know if you can pin it. All right. So I've been doing this long enough to know exactly what's happening in your head right now. So let's just say the quiet things out loud, because, you know, what's the point of hiding them? Can I actually afford $3,000? That is the hottest one, right? And it deserves a straight answer. Here's the truth. The program is built to make you money, not cost you it. So your first retreat is engineered to return at least 3 times what you put into it. And we do that math together in session 5 before you sell a seat. And the $600 a month plan exists precisely, so cash flow is not the thing that decides your life for you. But I also say this, if 3,000 would genuinely put you in a hard place, please don't. I mean that, right? Come back when it's a stretch, not a risk. And will this work for me and my type of retreat, right? There is no template, so there's nothing to be bad fit for. My clients run men's retreats, trauma retreats, silent retreats, wellness retreats, veteran retreats, corporate retreats, right? The model holds because it's built around you, not around a niche. And sometimes I also get the question, I want to talk to my partner. And completely fair, right? And if you truly make financial decisions together, and if that is you, then get them on the call with my team, yeah? Don't do it alone in the kitchen or at 11 at night. But I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I need to talk to my partner. Is fear wearing a responsible outfit? You know which one it is, right? And I trust you to know. So, or what if I fall behind? You can't, right? That is what, like, we also have lifetime real enrollment for this. So life will happen in 6 weeks, right? It happens to everyone. And you can come back and do it again and again with the next group, free for as long as I run it. And the other question is like, I've never hosted a retreat, right? Well, that is the whole reason of this program, right? This is not the advanced program. This is the first one built for the first one. So Ariel, here's where I answer your question. The program that you are is at the six-figure retreat program. So that's the bigger version of this program. This is for you, like to learn more like the nitty-gritty details of each single retreat. All right. So I'll tell you one more story and then I'll stop, right? So we had this client, Christy and I, and Christy, I'll bring you in a second, but to talk a little bit more about, I think like the yes effect, I think that would be nice. But, you know, Thane, she was all in, right? And she had invested in trainings and she had been to the retreats, right? She even co-owned a retreat center, right? She was not a dabbler, she was serious. And when it came the time to decide, she said, I promised my husband I would not spend any more this year. And I respect that, right? I did. But here's what the decision actually cost her. It cost her a year, not a year of money, right? A year of the things she said she wanted more than anything. No clients, no launch, no retreat. She didn't say no to me. She said no to herself. And she made it sound responsible. And I'm not saying this to pressure anyone, right? If this is not the season, it's not the season, and I'll be here, right? I'm saying it because I watched too many people call it caution when it's actually fear, and they lose years with it. Years with it, right? Okay. There is no version of this where the waiting is free. Waiting has a price, and you have all been paying quietly. And it's a currency nobody sees. So every year you don't launch is a year of people you would not get the room and the transformation you would have held for them. So not deciding doesn't keep you safe, right? It costs you slowly instead of all at once. So here's the last thing I'm going to ask you to do, right? You came in here today as someone who has a retreat in their head, in his, right? And something you've been carrying for some of you for over a decade. I want you to type in this chat and I want you to mean it. I am a retreat leader. 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 Look at that. Yeah. Brittany, great. Yes. I love it, Ariel. I am a luxury retreat leader. Yes. Yes, yes. That is not aspirational. That is a description, right? A retreat leader is a person with a plan, right? You have a price, right? You wrote it in the chat an hour ago. Now the date and the plan are the next 10 weeks. So book a call with me and figure out if this is the right program for you. And I want you to just close your eyes with me for a second, right? It's a year on from now. Your retreat already happened. The room was full. You were fully present in it every minute because you were not doing math or balancing your accounts in your head about how you were going to get home or pay for your kids' school or the next trip. And on the last morning, someone in this circle asked you when the next one is. And you had an answer. Open your eyes. That is not a fantasy. That is 10 weeks and a decision. All right. So, Christy, I'm going to just bring you in for a second because I know you explain like heart-led sales better than me and, you know, the value of doing this work this way.
Yes, I'm so excited about this. Hi, ladies. I'm Christy Kendall. I would love to know who's in. Put a 1 in the chat if you're in. Who's in? Retreat leaders, take action. And, you know, sometimes with selling, this is what I love about selling. Everybody starts to feel the feelings when it comes I'm in the other one, Ariel. Yeah. Everybody starts to have feelings, right? And then we want to jump off or we want to, avoid it. But the best thing to do is let's look at it. So what are you feeling? What did you get out of the course? Who's in? And if you're not in, why not? Let's just talk about it. Ariel, yes.
Thank
Love what
you.
I've learned so far with Lenny. Yes, I can tell you that I incorporated Lenny's six-figure retreat method. I know that's not what this class is, but it's a big part of it, right? I incorporated that into my summits business and partnered with Lenny with that, and we hit six figures by month 9 in that business. Do you know that less than 15% of women in business ever cross six figures? We did it in less than 9 months with her system. And so oftentimes we think, well, we got enough. We're going to put what we learned into effect, or I'm going to do it later, or let me see what I can get done myself. But the facts and the data show less than 15, I think it's actually 14% of women ever cross that six-figure mark. That's $100,000. I think I spend that on coffee a year, right? Like it's not enough. It's not enough. And when you look at that and you look at the amount of lives that you have to change, it's almost like a responsibility to grow your business. And Samara, I'll let Lenny answer that in a second. And sometimes with selling, we get uncomfortable. But I want to share with you, I have this class that I teach, and I'll share with you that in a minute, but it's called the Yes Effect. And one of the things, it's applicable to you all ladies because you're in business. One of the things that I love about the Yes Effect is you become the yes, and it's through your leadership. And when you say yes to yourself first, you're setting the energy and the tone for your guests to say yes to you. And there's a whole psychology in that. But I am very curious if you guys would put in the chat if you're not in, if you haven't filled out the form on the button to enroll in the class, have you signed up for the private call? Because sometimes it is legitimate if it's right for you. Like Lenny gave the bullet points on when it's not right. But if you have not done either of those, let's just talk about it. It's not right or wrong, right? It's just a conversation. And if it feels like we're working really hard for you to sign up for this, we are, because we believe in it. Lenny believes in it, and we have seen the results of it with women in their retreats. And I do my own retreats, but I don't teach anything with retreats, but I do sales and marketing. And I have a lot of Lenny's clients come over for other things. And I can say that their businesses are set up in such a beautiful way that makes all the rest of the marketing and sales that are needed to scale a business almost magical. It's really beautiful how it works. So yes, this is getting started in your first retreat, but it's just the starting point, because every single one of you here put, I am a retreat leader. That tells me that you're not just going to have one retreat, that you are holding a vision and a mission that's bigger than you. So Christy, you can't spend right now. You can't, or you don't want to. Let's talk about it. Do you want to be vulnerable and come forward and just share it with us? No?
Retired and can't spend right now.
Okay.
Yeah, like these things like always make me think about it, right? Like when we're like, is it worth keeping it as a dream, right? Or is it something that will happen another time? Or it will never happen. And it's just something that, we can keep in dreamland. And it's okay. There's so many, you don't know how many people come through my masterclasses. There's so many people that dream of hosting retreats that never will. So it is a choice. It's always a choice, right? Are you gonna be one of those, or are you gonna be someone who hosts retreats?
I'm Christy. You said you've been wanting to do this for 20 years. and you can't spend. So how are you going to put a retreat together? Just something to think about, right? We're just bringing you forward because you answered the question. And you can save for this, or you can just start selling it and make for money and pay for it. That's a concept, right? So just some thoughts, just give you guys new perspectives to look at business, because it's the people that if you save for a retreat, well, in 3 years, it's going to be double the cost, or save for the class. I promise you in 3 years, it'll be double the cost at least. So it's like that incessant hole of dreaming is what that is. Let's bring Samara on here. Samara, you've been on I know you. How do I know you?
He's
Let's
our
explore.
speaker in Tampa.
Okay. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking in Tampa, and Lenny, I did message you about Dallas, so I need you to get back to me on that after this.
I will.
So excited to meet you, Samara, in
Thank you.
person.
Me too. So I've been using OPS, other people's stages, for the last few years, building up my community. I did attempt a retreat. It was a tough one. It was a cruise. It wasn't meant to happen because my mom ended up passing away anyway, and it was a mother-daughter cruise. So, but it was a tough one to do because it was like women and mothers and daughters and granddaughters and a cruise ship and out of Florida, and it was a lot of things at one time. I should have started way smaller. I've been producing retreats for board of directors for decades, but I've never filling seats is something that I didn't normally have to do, which is why I love OPS, other people's stages, because they fill the seats and I pay to speak. But it's getting to that point, and I'm speaking on your stages. So it's getting to the point though that I need to start being more of that leader where I'm doing my own as well and making more of the money versus just selling from stage. So my biggest challenge is that I am involved with a lot, and I am on Zooms all day long every day. So it's really the scheduling, because I don't want to watch recordings. I want to be live with you guys.
Yeah, so this program starts 18th of August, and it is at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific time.
And Samara, this is why I love these conversations, right? Is because there's a whole bunch of other things going on, especially if you're running a business. I mean, if you have 3 main events back to back to back, there's things happening in your business. So realistically, and then also sometimes when you are a big dreamer and you are running a big business, there's other things that's available that might be better. So taking a look at everything, what are you selling from the stage in Tampa? So there's other things that I would say, let's take a look at and make sure the timing, the right offer, the right class for you, or the right next step for you, what that looks like, where it might be. So sometimes things aren't the right thing. And that's why I love these conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people say, it's money. When if you dig down, it's nobody judging you for that, but digging down, is it really money? Because most of the time it's really not money. It's what we believe about it and our money. So I appreciate you sharing. And I do know, and I have experience, that you're a yes girl. You say yes to yourself before anything else, and you say yes to the right offers, and your clients say yes to you. And so that's leadership. And I am a high ticket sales strategist, and I use leadership based selling. And I can spot leadership a mile away, and I can tell you who's going to sell and who's going to make money within the first 5 seconds of talking to somebody.
Thank you. And I do say that I do also want people to understand that I live in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's a big retreat state. I mean, people come here from all over the world to do retreats, Sedona, Scottsdale, all over, and Phoenix. And so it is a great location to do them right here. I wanted to do retreats because I lived in 13 states and 31 homes, but didn't get to travel the world. It was for selfish reasons. It was because I wanted to go and be with people I love all over the world. But the reality is, if I have to start small as a single mom and do it in Arizona, what a great place to do it and keep those costs down. And so that's my plan, is to start smaller, do the workshop retreats, and then just keep building from there to build that community so that people will pay for the retreat. And the question I have for you guys is the community. So you answered my question about the funnels and workflows, which is super helpful because I also have Go High Level, but also the community. So if I feel like my community may not buy into this, You really, I know Lenny does great ads. So you guys help us with that as well?
But when we talk about, there is one session that is about messaging, and we talk about the different ways on how you can promote and sell your retreats. That is not just, not everything is ads, not everything is social media. There's different ways. We have, like I had a client, she sells her retreats on with articles on Medium.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like, or getting on stages. So what we do in this class is we're looking at what would be the best way for you to have that, and then the blueprint, that is the bonus that you get, that one gives you marketing channel mix based on your audience of where you're supposed to be promoting.
And ads have come up a lot in this class, which tells me that you guys have really looked into things with this, and some of you are really aware of the business and marketing side of things. But I will say that one of the strategies, not ads is not always the starting point with marketing in a business. There's a lot of strategy behind that, and I know Lenny touches on it. Sometimes it's the right partnerships, the right collaborations. Like Samara said, sometimes it's getting on a stage. You can do more from a stage than you can from an ad sometimes. It just depends on a lot of things. And that's what you have to go a little deeper in than you can in just a 1 or 2 hour class. So don't let ads overwhelm you or intimidate you or worry about that. That will come when it's needed, if you even need it. And Lenny and I do this women's social. We do it online and we do it in several cities. And those are rooms that sell out really fast. But I used to do the same thing in Las Vegas 6 years ago. It was before COVID. And I did it for a full year. It was 12 months exactly. And then COVID hit. And not one time did I ever place an ad there. And I had sponsors, and I would have about 40 to 45 women in my room every single month. And so that was a strategy that I used. So ads are
Yeah,
not
so
the way to
yeah,
stay
for
on.
me, I think the most important piece for everyone who's listening is that there is no cookie cutter strategy. The way you promote your retreat is different for each person, and we want to find that out. I am not a person who like ran her retreats and then found out that she can sell them through Facebook groups, and then I'm teaching you, oh, now you can sell them through Facebook to groups too, because that's what works. Because I truly believe that not every retreat is meant to be sold on Facebook. And like the same way that not every retreat is supposed to be sold on LinkedIn or on blog posts or on podcast episodes. You need to find the one that is right for you. And that's what is one of my biggest passions, right? Like creating those strategies that are personalized to the person and to the ideal client, because it makes a huge difference. Because like I use this example all the time. I had this moment where everyone was coming to me and saying, Lainey, you need to get on TikTok. This is the way, right? You're going to make a lot of money with TikTok and whatnot. And I downloaded the app. Okay, I did. And then I was like, okay, what is this all about? Right? Because I was like, I'm not dancing, but I was like, and I spent like 1 hour scrolling and I was hooked. And I was like, I cannot do this. So if this is, because I was like, I'm going to spend my time scrolling on it on TikTok instead of selling. And I refuse to do dancing videos. So it doesn't matter that everyone else comes and tells you, oh, this is what you're supposed to do. It also needs to feel good, because at the end of the day, the same way that when you host a retreat and you're in there and people feel your presence, the same thing happens when you're marketing and people think, oh, it's just an ad. People don't feel the energy. No, they do feel the energy. They're like, oh, is this person excited about the event or is this person dreading it? Like, we transfer energy, but because every single thing that we put out there, it has our imprint. So we want to be very mindful of how we choose to promote our retreats. What are our retreats about? All the pieces. And honestly, most of the times we cannot see the label from inside of the jar. And you just need someone from out there to see it on your behalf and tell you, do this, move that, da, da, da. Because we have so many thoughts, so many things are happening in our head all the time. So anyway, thank you, Samara, for coming on.
Yeah, I'm so excited, Samara, to see you in Dallas. Couple weeks. I would love to, anybody else want to go? Brittany, I see you very present with us. I would love to, you want to come forward? Do you mind? Do you want to share? Is that a no, I'm not coming forward? Or I won't ask you anything about your pricing or why you're not doing this. I just want to meet you. No? Do you want to unmute and tell me who you
Hi.
are? What you do? What's your retreat?
I am a lymphatic therapist.
Where are you at?
And I have hosted, I'm in Fort Worth, Texas.
Oh, okay.
Hosted one retreat.
Oh, nice.
It went well,
Do you do,
emotionally, energetically.
are you a body worker, or you said therapist?
Mhm.
What you do body work?
Mhm.
Amazing.
Yeah, so certified lymphedema therapist through massage therapy.
Awesome. How far is Fort Worth from Dallas?
20 minutes.
It's close. Yeah, I live in
Okay.
between the two.
We have a women's social coming up on the 12th, and we have a sales summit on the 21st
On the
in Dallas.
12th of August.
Yeah.
How do
Yeah.
I get that info?
I'm
I'll
gonna
put
give
it-
you the link for the Sell Like a Woman because you want to come. That's gonna be
You
bad.
definitely want to be at Sell Like a Woman.
If I could find my link in my chat. here.
Amazing women. Our rooms are magical. I will brag, but they really are. And the best, I love Dallas and Tampa because the best women show up in our rooms. Just transformational, connected. I love the ladies in our rooms. It'll be a good room for you. And I would love to meet you.
Cool. Yeah,
Yeah. So thanks for coming on.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think it's time we wrap up. Ladies, you have the link to book a strategy call. I just dropped the link also for Dallas if you're around and want to come see us. That would be great. And Ariel, thank you so much. You know, she's like, if you're on Edge, I will tell you that you will have a much better foundation with her training. So I appreciate you very, very much. I know magical things are coming, but your retreats, and I can't wait to see everything that is going to happen. So thank you.
Yeah, I need to meet Ariel.
Yes.
It's so nice to
Well,
meet you, ladies.
all right, everyone. Bye.